Americans are leaving these top 5 states in droves. I'm sure it has nothing to do whether or not they're a blue state or a red state. I'm going to be diving out here in a little bit, but first things first, I left a blue state last year, and it's because I was tired of it. I was a 5th generation native to Colorado. I was super sick of all the progressive policies and all the indoctrination that they were throwing into the schools back in Colorado. I took my family, I had to get the heck out of there. It was sad to leave. This is actually something I am super passionate about because there's nothing like leaving somewhere where your roots are established, where your entire family's at, because of so many people who moved into the state and completely changed it. Colorado will never be the same as it was when I was growing up as a kid. All right, so let's dive into this article right now. It is coming from Forbes and it posted September of 2023, titled 10 States People Are Fleeing and 10 States People Are Moving to. I'm mainly going to discuss these top 5 states that so many people are leaving. I'm going to read each description after, just so I don't throw my own bias in there, right? I'll have something to say after each one, but let's go ahead and take it from Forbes, which I feel like is a center-left establishment. And so that way we could kind of throw a little bit of both sides into this. All right, so number 1 state that people are leaving is California. As stated by Forbes, 2021 saw a net loss of over 101,000 households in California despite a mostly pleasant climate and robust tech industry. Rising house costs, rising taxes, and politics seem to be driving many people to look for opportunities elsewhere. Other factors that immigrants have cited are the rising threat of wildfires and the constantly increasing cost of living. Many families from the state are relocating to Texas. Funny. And I'm just going to say I highly doubt that the vast majority of people leaving are because of the wildfires. I'm going to say the beginning of the article talking about, the taxes, the politics. This is why people are leaving California. And the big reason I know this is because I lived in a state that they were fleeing to back in the 2010s. Colorado is one of the top spots that so many Californians were moving to before they started to kind of discover Texas. Number 2 on the list is ding, 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 New York, the other hardcore progressive state. According to Forbes, moving out of New York has become trendy, it would seem. The skyrocketing cost of living and ever-increasing local, state, and federal taxes are driving factors. Many technology and banking industry workers had spent a great deal of time in the office have found that working remotely due to the pandemic better suits their desires, allowing them to leave the city and perhaps live closer to extended family members. New York saw a net loss of over 75,000 families last year. I find it funny that the fact that the subway systems aren't safe anymore, that the fact that there's a ton of illegal immigrants in the parks and overtaking the streets of New York City, Brooklyn, and all the surrounding cities, that has nothing to do with it whatsoever, right? That one was a little bit more, they're trying to kind of niche off, oh yeah, they want to be closer to extended families. Yeah, okay. All right, let's break into the third state. Third state is Illinois, and according to Forbes, IllinoisPolicy.org cited opportunities for employment and better housing as the leading cause of the population decline in the state. Nearly half of would-be movers also said that the tax rate is a major factor in their decisions for leaving. About 29,000 outbound moves weren't reciprocated in 2021. Weather, high traffic levels, and crime only make the declining population problem worse for the state. I was trying to find the most recent article when talking about where everyone is leaving, because there's one that's based back in 2021. It legit stated that climate change is why people were leaving these states, which is complete bullshit. It was pretty much like the people that they were talking to said nothing about climate change. Like there's even actually an elderly couple who said, yeah, we just don't want to do the humidity anymore up here. And I think it was in Chicago. So we're going to go somewhere that's a little bit least humid, something that we used to stand when we were younger. We can no longer stand. They're like, oh, climate change. Yeah, okay, whatever. Yeah, because the humidity's going up that much. The 4th state that people are leaving is Pennsylvania. And I know we semi-consider this a purple state. We'll see what happens. I think after the 2020 election, it's going to be pretty darn blue. But who knows? With all the people leaving, and we got to see whether they're Democrats or Republicans that are leaving Pennsylvania. Good chance you got more moderates, conservatives who are leaving because they're sick of all this BS. According to Forbes, Pennsylvania's decline of 18,000 plus households recently directly results from job losses resulting from the pandemic. The state's sometimes sketchy weather doesn't help either. Many families are seeking better employment odds in nearby states, while a considerable number of them are taking the opportunity to head for warmer weather and lower cost of living. You notice there's been a theme with all these states right here. We've seen taxes mentioned a few times, cost of housing a few times. Interesting. And what comes in at number 5 is Massachusetts as the 5th state that many people are fleeing, according to Forbes. Several publications list retirement and work motives as reasons behind Massachusetts' population decline. The state realized a net loss of 15,489 households last year. Recent history shows strong GDP growth and a robust economy. Yet, similar to its neighboring states, the recent push towards remote work allows families to leave high-density population areas and choose more suburban lifestyles beyond the state's borders. Here's the thing about it does Massachusetts not have like any suburbias there whatsoever outside of Boston? Like, you know, you got city life, but then I'm sure they have plenty of suburbias. That has nothing to do with actual state lines. But I don't know. They can sit there and say whatever they want. We all know why they are leaving these states. It's because the high regulation, the high taxes, and they are just sick of government constantly getting in their lives, hiking up their taxes, bringing in all these new regulations. I'm pretty sure it was New Jersey who did the plastic bag ban, and then finding out that they are now wasting more plastic bags because people are buying the reusable ones and then just throwing them away. It's just like your policies do not work, but I don't understand all these people who are leaving these super blue states and then taking those policies to these red and red-ish states. If you didn't like high taxes, if you didn't like that government regulation, where you came from, why are you voting for it in the new spot? Now, here's something that I'm going to play the little devil's advocate here. So we might say, all right, you know, it's because they didn't want to be a part of the big city anymore. The big cities are who is losing all these populations. That's who it is. So I dove in a little bit into that. So with California, I actually picked 2 cities there. So I picked LA and San Fran. I'm sure they kept a pretty steady pace of, oh yeah, no, look at that. Looks to be declining pretty well there. All right, cool. All right, so let's go over to New York City, right? New York City's not losing too many people. It's the state as a whole. And oh yeah, look at that. Yeah, New York is, yeah, they're losing some people too. All right, let's go to Chicago. Chicago is probably like not losing too many people or, oh, yeah. Okay. All right, I mean, just Chicago's kind of been on decline for a little while there, so, but, All right, well, okay, let's check Boston. Everyone loves Boston, right? Going down to Boston, you know, Dropkick Murphys, that's my Yeah, okay, all right. That tells us everything. Okay. So big cities, we saw that. All right. So big cities is why they're leaving, right? Now let's look at the top states and then some of their top cities and see whether they're gaining in population or declining in population in the large cities. So the top 5 states that people are relocating to: Texas, Florida, South Carolina, North Carolina, and Georgia. All right. So let's check. Let's just say, I don't know. Everyone's Houston. Let's check out Houston. Oh, wow. That's okay. So they're not losing any population. All right, cool. So large city population-wise in Florida is Jacksonville. Let's check out Jackson. So that's interesting. The whole idea behind people are just moving out of the big city. Yeah, it kind of defeats the purpose of that. It looks like in some of these red states, the big cities are actually gaining population. Here's my biggest message because, like I said, I was essentially pushed out of my state due to how it was changed. All the progressives that came into the state and completely changed it. If you're moving somewhere because you're trying to get away from high taxes, high regulations, and all that stuff, don't change it where you're going. All right? Quit voting for the Democrats who are making your life miserable because eventually you're not going to have anywhere to go. It's as simple as that. All right, cool, guys. Thank you so much for listening. I just ask that you do follow along this channel if you do love this content. And until next time, stay free.